Fishing by Chelsea Axley. Since the birth of mankind, man has been driven by the physiologic need to eat. They say that necessity is the mother of invention, and from this most basic necessity, humans have taken their place at the top of the food chain, as hunters and as fishermen. Analysis of the oldest human remains in Eurasia prove that fish was a staple in the early human diet. Historically, men have taken the place as hunters and women the gatherers. A simple Google image search of ancient historical fishing brings up countless pictures of men and fishing from around the world. This mosaic was amongst others discovered in 1933 at the Leptic Magnesite in Tripoli and dates back to the 1st or 2nd century AD. It is the first ever record of a landing net. In ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs depict men in fishing boats. This Roman mosaic illustrates men fishing, and yet another example of men fishing off the coast of India. This was the first recording of a fishing reel, a Chinese man, around the 12th century. And finally, we have Poseidon holding his trident. I had a harder time finding women in these pictures, but every so often they are depicted as in this scene a little closer to home. These are women collecting shellfish off the California coast. Ancient history shows scarce proof that women participated in fishing. However, as fishing developed into a leisure activity, women were quick to participate. In fact, the very first written book about fishing was written by a woman and published in 1486 by a 15th century English nun named Dame Juliana Burner. Although historians question the presence of women in fishing prior to the 20th century, more recent history has provided us with a better insight. It is estimated that women take up about 1/4 of fishermen behind the rod. It is stated in this book that in the 500 years since Dame Juliana's time, the women who have gained notoriety in the field of fishing can be counted on 2 hands. It is also stated that there are statistics to indicate that women have comprised approximately 1/3 of all anglers for at least the last 10 years. In 1955, a group of 4 women who were only allowed to fish on Ladies' Day, and only if their husbands were assured of 3 good days of fishing for themselves, formed the International Women's Fishing Association. Within a few short months, they had a membership of over 100 ladies. Today, they are a worldwide organization, hosting tournaments, competitions, and awarding scholarships to ladies wishing to pursue degrees in marine science. According to the 2011 National Survey of Fishing from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and U.S. Census Bureau, 21% of males fished in the United States, compared to 7% of women. That means over 1/4 of all people fishing are women. Modern fishing has expanded to include women, but it is still a common misconception that women do not participate in fishing, both as a sport and as an occupation. Media and societal gender roles perpetuate this commonly held belief. Shows such as The Deadliest Catch, with all male captains and crews, embody the ideal fisherman, strong, dangerous, and above all, male. It is easy to see how fishing fits into the traditional roles for men and women. Biologically, men have started out as the hunters, the ones who bring home the food. They are stronger. Across different cultures, women are not allowed on fishing boats, and in others it is considered a bad omen to have a woman on board. In some societies, women are not allowed to even touch the fishing equipment. These unique perspectives have left fishing for the domain of the man. Fishing as a sport proves skill and strategy. They are strengths that are championed among men. Leisure activities expanded in popularity to include sports such as fishing in the early 1800s. Although athletic pursuits for men became acceptable, the same was not true for women until much later. Women were expected to be spectators or stay in the home to enjoy leisure activities such as reading, sewing, and drawing. From our readings, we gained insight into the ideal woman of the Victorian era. Women were expected to be genteel, modest, passive, and attractive. These are traits not readily displayed while playing an outdoor sport such as fishing. Furthermore, socialized family roles placed women in the home. Wives were forced to look after their husband and children and put them above all of their own needs. Historically, almost all women have had to make leisure secondary in importance to the needs of the family. I myself am the embodiment of such gender roles. My husband often goes on fishing trips. I have always opted to stay at home and watch the kids, do housework and schoolwork, or even read a book if I have the time. Perhaps it has been some sort of subconscious concept of a woman's duties, but I was never really interested. I saw it as a men's activity. I'd much rather go shopping with my girlfriends, grab a coffee, or have lunch. My husband has poker nights with the guys and I have margarita nights with the girls. Our roles have always been well defined, and I never question them because I am happy and comfortable. So I moved out of my comfort zone and finally decided to go fishing with my husband. I started with a little research. Aside from learning some tools, techniques, and tactics of fishing, I observed one other important detail. In a fishing manual containing 315 pages of text and countless pictures of fishermen with their prized bounty, I found not one single picture of a female. After that enlightening read I headed down to the pier with my fishing pole and kids in tow, because it wouldn't have been fun without my two favorite people. Casting the line out and learning how to hold the fishing line and flip the bail was all a little more complicated than I thought.
Jesus Christ.
I used to think that fishing consisted of nothing but casting your line out and waiting for a bite. We were doing something called lure fishing. We used a fishing lure to try and lure fish to bite it. I was repeatedly casting the line out, which turned out to be pretty fun.
Get off of there.
You have to record the pole, not just my backside.
It's the only side of you I like.
Come on. Now we're gonna have to record it all over.
Through this experience, I learned that maybe I had some misconceptions about men and fishing. It's not all about drinking on a boat or telling the tallest fishing tail, comparing stories to figure out who's the best fisherman and the strongest man. Maybe fishing is about camaraderie with the person netting your fish and untangling your line. Maybe it's about the fresh air and the sound and smell of the ocean. I feel I have learned something valuable, an insight into my husband's world. This experience has encouraged
Pretty
me to
awesome, but
cross other
unlikely.
gender roles. Women could definitely benefit from taking part in activities otherwise assigned to the opposite sex. And possibly I'll take out the trash this week and have my husband do the dishes. It felt good doing something outside with the kids. We were all enjoying ourselves, and I found out how much my stepdaughter loves fishing. I had no clue. My husband enjoyed sharing his favorite hobby and teaching me something new. We even made plans to take the kids out again. Unfortunately, I didn't catch any fish. I did, however, have a very unhappy little shark who was telling me our fishing trip was over for the day.